Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to 2 Cents on Movies, where we give our worthless 2 cents on movies. I'm Chaz Hill.
And I'm Jackson Barnes. Today we're going to be talking about the final installment to the Wolverine story, Logan, directed by James Mangold, starring Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Boyd Holbrook, and Dafne Keen.
Now, Logan takes place kind of distant away from the other X-Men films, and follows Wolverine and Professor X, and they're older, they're more mature, and this world is a lot different than the other X-Men worlds that we've seen. And they're going on a cross-country journey together, and they got to figure some stuff out. There's some mysteries involved. Don't want to give away too much. But that's the basic plot synopsis for it.
Yeah, so coming from someone who hasn't seen the X-Men films in quite some time, you can walk right into Logan and pick up right where it left off and have a complete understanding of what's going on. The storyline is that simple, and you can understand everything that's happening and has happened in this world that you're immersed in.
Yeah, the movie doesn't really wink and nod at the other films. It doesn't reference them that much. It does enough that for the fans that have grown up with the franchise and grown to love these characters, but it's so simple and concise in what its story is that you don't really need to see the other movies to really appreciate it. Now, going into this movie, I kind of had some thoughts that I was thinking about before the movie, going into it, and one of them was how they were going to do this R rating, because it's, other than Deadpool, which is just a completely different and otherworldly kind of character, no real superhero movie has gone for that R rating since Blade. Yeah. So this is kind of a new territory for these studios to go in, and I was afraid they were going to do it either completely over the top, way too much gore, and it was just going to be just a slasher gore fest kind of movie where the R rating dictates what the movie is doing, or they were just going to go just one notch above PG-13 and not truly go for it. It would just be PG-13 but 5 minutes of Wolverine just hacking people's limbs off just for no reason. But fortunately, this movie, the R rating services the movie, not the R rating is the movie, which is what I was really hoping for. This movie could not be what it is without it being rated R.
I agree. If I can piggyback off that, the R rating really took it from a kid comic book movie to a cinematic experience that could stand alone by itself. The story really could not have been told without several words being used that really just made that scene that much better.
And I'm sure you can guess what words those were, because we can't say them. And it like you said, it made the jump from just a kid comic book. It made the jump from a good comic book movie like Doctor Strange, where there's nothing wrong with Doctor Strange. I loved it, but this was just a piece of film, like The Dark Knight, and that's what this is being compared to in most circles. Not that it's better. Some people think it is, but it's The Dark Knight of this year so far, at least, where it's a great piece of film that has comic book characters in it. And that's really where I think the difference is. I could see this movie being nominated for Best Picture later on down the line, kind of like a Mad Max a couple of years ago. And another thing I was thinking about before going into this is the character of Logan himself, because that's the subject of this movie, and that's what really makes this movie great, and what makes all the other X-Men movies, even the bad ones, watchable are the characters. Because I'm unique in that I didn't see all the X-Men movies as they came out in theaters. I kind of caught up to them all at once. I bought the box set, and I watched them all in the span of a couple months. So I grew to love these characters really fast because of how good they are. And kind of similar to if you're watching The Office, and it's kind of a terrible episode, but you still love the characters. That's how I was watching X-Men Origins Wolverine or X3. It might have been a horrible movie, but I still loved the characters so much that it got me interested. And that's what I think drove Fox to make this movie R, is because they knew they could, because people love Wolverine so much, and they knew they would go see it.
Yeah. The next thing I want to touch on is how this movie was made. The cinematography and the locations they choose to shoot at were absolutely beautiful. Part of this movie is filmed, or it's set in Mexico, and they really captured the environment that these characters now live in. They really captured how it resembles them in themselves now and later on in their lives.
Yeah, you can really see the symbolism in the environments, and you get the gritty, dark feel, because this is a different world that this X-Men movie takes. It's not the fun, poppy setting of First Class or X-Men Apocalypse. It's a lot more desolate. It's a lot more bleak, and that kind of translates over into the characters because the characters are vulnerable. Wolverine's kind of vulnerable for the first time. Professor X is vulnerable for the first time, and before they were just these unstoppable superheroes. But now you can connect with them. They're more human. They're more vulnerable, and that makes you care that much more throughout the film as it goes.
So I really think that this movie wanted to wrap up the story of Logan or Wolverine, and it did it beautifully. It really left the viewers satisfied, although not satisfied at the same time.
It leaves you wanting more, and that's like one of the best things a movie can do is leave you wanting. Just why did it end right there? I wanted to see more. I wanted to see what happens next, and that's even though the movie is self-contained in the fact that you can watch it by itself and it's a great piece of film. You don't want it to end. You want it to just keep going. You want it to keep going, even though it's not that short. And
it's a 2.5 hour long.
I would have gladly sat there for another hour. in the world that this movie's in, I would have sat there forever.
Yes.
As we kind of wrap this up a little bit, we don't want to give away too much to you, so we're just going to talk about kind of the acting and the directing a little bit. First off, again, as I said before, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is perfect.
Yes.
I don't think there's anybody else who could play him. If they try and do a Wolverine again down the road, they're going to be really scraping the bottom of the barrel for what Wolverine can do as a character, because I think in the last 17 years, Hugh Jackman's owned this role, and between his Wolverine and like Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, between the most perfect castings for a character, it's up in the air. I think I would lean towards Wolverine, to be honest.
I agree.
And going to Patrick Stewart, once again, I think Patrick Stewart did say this was his last movie as Professor X, and what a way to go out, because he does it perfectly in this film as well. And then the girl. Don't want to give away too much about the girl in case you haven't seen any trailers or anything, which is how you should see this movie. Don't see trailers.
Yes.
The best surprises are just left for the theater. But Dafne Keen plays the girl in this movie. That's all I'm going to say. She's a great child actor. Because that's another place where this movie could have gone off the rails, is if they got a horrible child actor to play this girl. But she's amazing, and I'm sure we'll see her down the road in either other movies or maybe another X-Men film down the road.
Not to give too much away, but
she does cool things. That's all we'll say. She does cool things. And then director James Mangold comes back to direct this movie. He directed, can't remember the year, but the Wolverine. It's the X-Men film that followed Wolverine's character into Japan fighting some samurai. I thought that was as good of a PG-13 solo Wolverine movie that we were going to get, because you could kind of tell watching that movie that James Mangold was kind of told to do certain stuff by the studio that he probably didn't want to do, but they let the reins loose on this one. He does an incredible job with the character. The directing is phenomenal. The shots are beautiful. You have any particular ones that you remember from the film?
The final scene is what I think needs to appear on Twitter's one perfect film shot at least once a week. It is just emotionally and coming from the cinematic side, all around perfect. It really is appealing to the eye, but hits you at home in the heart pretty big as well. Also, going back on the acting, I think the acting also all went back to the R rating. The actors are living with they've been living with these characters for 17 years now. And due to that R rating, they just really haven't been able to reach their full potential. And whenever they started filming this, and they told them just to, as you said, let the reins free, I think they've really allowed the actors to reach their full potential and really immerse themselves 100% into the role of their characters.
And again, on that final scene, I'll say this about the whole movie: you'll experience almost every single emotion. You'll laugh, you might shed a tear. You're gonna be jacked up, and you're gonna want to work out when you see Wolverine go into his roid rage. But that final shot, it's something that I don't think I'll ever forget, because it's probably one of the best in all of the X-Men films. And just that whole final scene, actually, it's up there as one of the most emotionally impactful. Don't want to give anything away, but it's incredible. and it's something you definitely need to see if you're interested in seeing this film.
So to wrap this video up, my final thoughts: you gotta see this movie, whether you're an X-Men fan or not. You have to see it. Like I said before in the video, if you've never seen the X-Men before, you can totally come into Logan and understand everything that's going on. I'm giving it a 92 out of 100 because,
it's pretty high.
minus. Solely because before this movie, Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman announced that this was going to be it for them, and I really didn't want that to happen because I love the characters too much.
Yeah. All right. So for me, final thoughts. I completely concur with Jackson here. If you have any inclination to want to see this movie, I know it's a little late now, but find a way to see it. It's still playing. It's going to be playing for a while, so go see it if you can. See it later if you want to wait, but I would definitely see this in the theater because it's a piece of cinema that it's going to stick around with you for a while after you see it. And those are the best movies.
Yeah.
They stick with you after you leave the theater and drive home. So as far as the score goes, I think I'm going to one-up you a little bit. And by one-up, I mean 4-up, because I'm going to go with a 96 out of 100, which translates to 96 cents out of a dollar on our scale. That's my grade for Logan. So I think that kind of wraps it up here for us. Again, I'm Chaz Hill.
I'm Jackson Barnes.
And thank you for listening to our worthless 2 cents on movies. Deuces.